Okay. Charles LeBlanc, bitch, complain, everything. Sometimes that's all I do. I don't have a life, so what I do is bitch, complain. Do people listen to me? Yes. My 5 viewers are listening to me, and that's a good thing. So, what we're going to do here, somebody else is going to help me bitch and complain. And if you can come a little bit closer to me, it'll be alright. Come closer. See, look, I know. You can't really be, yeah, a little bit closer. See, look,
alright.
A little bit closer.
Okay.
You're not gay? No, don't worry about it. Okay, I wish I was gay, because you know why?
Why?
I'll have more rights. So, it's true.
You have twice as much fun.
Oh yeah, but then you have rights. New Brunswick Human Rights Commission. I like this.
Sure.
So can somebody, hey, know your line? What's that old show? Remind me of old, we're so old. What's your line? Who am I?
Oh yeah.
So who is this guy? I just thought about that.
Mm.
So you are, never mind who you are, you like politics.
Yeah.
You are a sick puppy like me. You always love the challenge.
Yep.
Yeah. And we are getting old.
Yeah. Yeah.
How old are you?
67.
Are you 67?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
And I turn around, I did a few videos, and then I say, I think about, I said, Bernard Lord, how did Bernard Lord get in power? Then I think of Camille Theriault.
Right.
And then I go back to Frank McKenna. That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago.
So when you see go ahead.
7 almost, yes. Over 30, well over 30 years ago, yeah.
Are we that old?
1984, I came to work in that building before Frank McKenna was elected leader.
What year?
1984.
What were you doing there?
The Ray Frenette hired me.
Ray Frenette. Is he still? No, he's dead.
He died, yeah. So I went to his funeral last year, yeah. He was a good man. I really liked.
Was he?
Yeah, yeah, very good. I liked him. Well, I like people who are as they appear, and that's. So Ray was the type of guy, when the door was closed, was the same type of guy that he was out on the street, and you could see that. So he would be the type of person that you know, you really knew who the guy was. You know, he didn't have a sort of a personality that when you shut the door.
Okay, enough of that. Enough of that. Yeah, this is not running a novel here. Because,
okay, great.
It's bad enough.
Yeah, right. I'll put it in my novel.
Yeah, exactly. And you did have a novel. Maybe you did some more. But you turn around, you start reflecting. You get at that age, you start.
Yes.
You start reflecting and say, what could have been, what hasn't happened, what is not, and we reflect.
Right.
We got brain cells.
Yes, unfortunately.
How come those brain cells don't forget the bad ones, the bad stories?
Oh, I think they remember a lot of good ones too.
Good ones, all right.
Mm-hmm. We're outdoors, and you have your mask. I'll just.
How come? But you, in there, as you could tell, this guy, if you don't know him, that is Mr. Jack MacDougall. That was one of the guys responsible to bring Frank inside the house. But we got to give credit to Richard Hadfield.
Oh, big credit. It was a cinch with Richard. Richard had 5 successful terms, or it was, and 4 actually. He was going for his 5th, and he was 17 years in, and he kind of collapsed at the end. Yeah.
How come we don't hear? Before Richard Hadfield died, he must have ordered his family not to have any buildings or memorial named after him. Because we haven't heard nothing. A premier that bring in bilingualism, and a premier that was really good with boat culture.
He was, and you know, he had a lot of good. He was also one of the quarterbacks on the Meech Lake Accord, and Mulrooney and former Prime Minister Trudeau really considered him one of the architects of unity in Canada. He was really a leader.
So how come we don't no building name after him and all that? We don't hear nothing.
It's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that. I mean, as little as I knew about Richard Hatfield, it wouldn't surprise me that it would have, that just what you suggest, it may have been, you know, I think in many ways he was humble, and he wasn't a braggart, he wasn't a greedy man. He, you know, he trusted his ministers. That's why he had such good cabinet ministers. That's why he kept getting reelected, is because he'd have in St. John, he'd have Jerry Marathon, Nancy Tate, everybody. Everybody was like top quality. And they turned into top quality because he let them do their job, and then when the election would come out, he'd be like a fox who came out of his foxhole, lead the team, and bang, he was almost impossible to defeat.
Is it because of his personal life, his personal
Oh, I think
thing?
so, yeah.
That's the reason we don't.
Yeah.
Maybe in 50 years from now, when everybody's gone. And
well, his death, nobody beyond the marijuana thing, which, you know, is ironic because today it's totally legal in New Brunswick, and it was a petty thing then as well. I think, you know, they should have, I don't know what.
How you doing? You see that there?
Yeah.
See that bite?
Yeah.
And
Anyway.
there's an autistic kid in the back,
Oh, yeah.
and that bite was given by Jim Gilbert.
Was
a
it?
$4,000 bite. They give it their own social assistant.
Yeah.
They were looking for an e-bite. And what you just seen by, there's some good people around.
Oh, there's a lot of good people, and Jim Gilbert would be one of them, I'm sure.
Oh,
No doubt
I
about
was
it.
surprised. I was very surprised. Okay, sorry, we got distracted.
No,
Something
that's fine.
You never know what you're going to see.
Two ADD guys talking.
ADHD is going to be there. How long has this been going on? 2 hours and 45 minutes. And this is just for the archives.
Yeah,
anyway.
right, yeah.
So what we were, was one of us paying attention to what the other person
Well,
was
I think
saying?
you're
Hatfield.
back onto Hatfield. You're on Hatfield.
Hatfield.
Yeah.
Okay, so never mind that. So
Okay.
let's go to 2020. Awful
Right.
year. Awful
Incredible.
year. Just terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible.
Unbelievable.
Now, you know politics. You know how it's run. You know everything about it. You were involved with Front McKenna. You know the party, the members of the party. You know what a bureaucrat calls a politician?
All right, give me a shot. I don't know.
Temporary help.
Right. It's a good point.
Because the politician
They'll be there,
is a
yeah.
revolving door. The bureaucrats is always there.
Yeah.
And those temporary workers, that party faithful, they want their cushy job for 4 years, 8 years, and then they make their contact with the bureaucrats, and then they get they get a job permanently. Those party workers want Higgs to call an election. Right
Well,
now.
I think he should call an election.
Huh?
I think he should.
What are you, some kind of a nut?
Well, here's the circumstance. He's got, what is it, 2 vacancies? He's got 3.
He's gonna, two is going to have 3.
3. Okay. Yeah, because somebody's resigning. The Sussex. Bruce Northrop is resigning. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, he literally has, he doesn't just have a minority government. He has a government, he could potentially have a government where the opposition has the most seats. And you've got who's led by a leader who's never been elected. He doesn't even have a seat himself. So it's the biggest mishmash I've ever seen in the history of politics to have. Okay, we've got our very, very first minority, correct? We've got
in 100 years, I think.
in
90 years or whatever.
well, in my opinion, it's the first, but I mean, I can't say that factually, but certainly in my
It don't
lifetime,
matter.
I never know.
This is
Right? Yeah.
There's no facts
Right?
here. Come
Yeah, great, exactly.
We're
So
just two grumpy old
two
men,
old
like the
timers
Muppet
talking,
show, like
right?
the Muppet show from the balcony,
Right.
complaining and whining.
So basically, you got a boss who isn't the boss. Just take a look at, for example, the vaccine issue. Now, in my lifetime, vaccines have cured the mumps, chickenpox, polio, you know, I don't know how many others. There's a whole list. Measles, did I say that?
Yeah.
Anyway, but the point being is it's the most, it would be the easiest piece of legislation to pass to say children who are going to
Focus,
school
Jack.
should be focused. Well,
Focus, Jack. We're talking about Higgs to call an election.
well, no, but I know, but he just put that before the House and he couldn't pass it. I mean, the Greens didn't even vote, and it went down, and you know, the 1% of I mean, there's not that many people. You may be an anti-vaxxer, but if you did,
I never said that.
no, I'm not saying it, but
I'm just kidding.
but you may be an anti-vaxxer.
If there's a vaccine for Corona, I will take it.
Of course, I mean, friggin' right.
You know, I mean, say,
so,
this is,
so I mean, he
there's so
couldn't
many
even
people with
pass
Facebook with opinions, that's the
that. So
problem.
basically, he's a government that can't
Okay.
lead.
Okay, can't lead. All right. Now,
Right.
do you I remember this. He maybe Blaine Higgs don't remember himself because he's getting up there in age. I remember when he got elected leader of the party, and he was in the opposition, and he told Brian Gallant, he says, invite me over your office. Invite me over to discuss the issue, the finance. He used to be finance minister with
Right.
David Howard. So he was telling him to invite him in the office. Now, he has the minority. He shows his teamwork. And a lot of people, and he was sitting right here. Did you watch the interview, me and him? It was pretty good.
Who was it?
Higgs.
Oh yeah, I've
he was
watched.
sitting
Oh
here,
yes,
and
I
I
watched
told him,
most of your videos.
You need to get a life. Anyway,
Yeah.
so anyway, you got too much time.
I do have a lot of time these
Too much
days,
time.
like everybody else.
Way too much. So I told him, I don't want to say this, but maybe you shouldn't say it. I said, I don't want to say it, but I want to say it. I never hear one person say one bad thing about you. No. One.
No.
So they're finding out he's a human being.
Right.
So now he got the charms. Now he wants to call an election during a crisis, the biggest crisis we ever seen. That would be a kick in the head.
Why?
Why? Because
I think, you know what? Perhaps for the very first time in the history of politics, because of the COVID, people are actually going to be tuned into the actual messages of the political parties. I mean, you've basically got a government whose only mission is telling everybody, stay home, stay home, right? Like there's nothing
Stay
else
home,
to do.
wear a mask,
right? You
stay
wear a
home,
mask,
wear a
stay
mask.
home, right?
News
Whatever.
conference every day.
Yeah.
I don't watch them anymore.
No, I mean, it's, you know, whatever.
Does she still have it?
I don't think so, but maybe she does, and you know, I wouldn't know if I was watching a rerun or an actual one anymore, you know, because they're all so much the same.
Predictable.
So we have a premier. It's like, you know, he's an emasculated premier. Like he has nothing. He you know, he's shooting blanks really. He can't. He hasn't got the power to do anything, and that's like a boss who has to, can't make a decision and whatever. Now, on the other hand, let's put on his political hat, okay? First of all, with a minority government, you rarely expect them to last 2 years or more.
We know that.
Okay, so we're at the 2-year mark, right? So it is time.
Crisis. The worst crisis we ever had.
Right.
So you tell everybody to wear masks, no gathering, and then did you know old people?
But I'm going to tell you politically, if
like
I was behind the scenes, I'd say to him, you better get yourself a majority government now.
Yeah, of course.
Because in a year, after people are look at these budgets, like I mean, there's and there's deficits and your debts and all these problems.
The problems
right.
are coming.
They're coming like a friggin' river.
Huge problems
You're
are
right.
coming.
And
They're
you better use your
call the House. Put a ridiculous budget. Let the opposition bring the government down.
Well, if they can't pass a vaccine bill, that's your issue. Just to, you know what I mean?
Anything,
just
bring the government
bring
down,
it in.
Bring
it
on.
on.
And then he goes like, oh, poor me. I tried.
No,
but
I want to lead.
I
want to lead. That's it. I want to lead a government. I want to be in charge. Judge me for what I do, not for and not to be coddling to people. Because how do we judge people? I mean, if how do we judge Higgs on anything, really? Everybody's saying, yeah, everybody stay home. Well, whatever. And then you've got the Liberal Party with Vickers.
The what?
Liberal Party, whatever.
Who?
Yeah, I know. Who? He never even...
he's not a politician.
He's not a politician. I feel sorry for the guy. I mean, he's
way over his head.
like just a few back roomers
put
him in way over his head.
He ran for the leadership.
Way over
He ran
his
for the
head.
leadership, and I asked him for an interview.
Yeah.
I Facebooked him. He said no.
Yes, exactly.
What?
Yeah, he's got about as
Charles LeBlanc, he said no.
Crazy. Crazy.
My God.
You don't say no to Charles
No,
LeBlanc
you
in New
don't,
Brunswick.
because I went after him like I was Kevin Bang Bang Vickers. You're a smart guy, Jack. I asked, but I did talk to Kevin twice.
Yeah.
I asked him one question. He's going to run against Michelle Comroy.
Right.
Who's better looking, Michelle or him?
Well, I suppose, I got one question for him that every politician has to be asked. Why him? What's your message?
You know why? I was when he announced he was running in Miramichi. I was there. That's why I contacted him.
Yeah, just answer that question. Why him?
You know why? Do you know who was in his entourage?
Who?
Camille Theriault.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's the mouth of Kevin and thinking of Camille Theriault's bunch that comes true.
It's a clique. He's the product of a clique. And it's like, oh, look, you got a little public attention because you shot a guy. And then you got paid off for being an ambassador to Ireland. Great. But that is not a pathway to being automatically named the leader of a political party where an entire province is saying the best thing they can say about him is he's the brother of Sister Vickers. Other than that, he's nothing, nobody. And even the event for which he was credited is all under question. That in fact he took false credit.
It will take more attention when the election is on.
He took false credit
Going back to Higgs, I say, and I said that to Party Facebook, I would compare Higgs to Hitler if this happened. They look at me, they go, Hitler? Oh my God. I said, listen, when Hitler took power, it was during a depression.
Right.
A big, big depression.
Right.
And Hitler was charming. Very charming with the ladies and everything. He was very charming. Hitler was charming.
Right.
When he started and everything. And Higgs, like I said, people are looking at him in a different atmosphere that he is, like he's human. And then next thing you know, take advantage of what happened, the crisis, and call an election. I don't believe that, like I said, like Hitler during the Depression, they had the election. Now, in the States, we're not going to start talking about that. It's a fixed election, fixed date. Hello, how you doing?
Good, you? This is 706.
That's a good question.
706 what?
Queen.
Well, first of all, there's 736 over there.
But
hold on.
Look for the...
This is King.
Let's see the address.
Yeah,
Queen is over there.
Yeah, I'm looking for the
Legislative Assembly.
That's it, right there.
Legislative Assembly. Right behind you. Just knock at the door.
Be easier to come in off King.
Might be. Yeah, for your parking.
Yeah.
706.
This is 706?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Did, excuse me, the old saying, you learn something new every day.
Every day.
You knew that was 706 Queen?
No.
You learned something new.
Well, actually, you know, I did. I probably used to know that, but it's been long enough that I've forgotten it.
706.
Wasn't the biggest piece of information.
What kind of people are they hiring these days?
I remember that
first
715 Brunswick Street over there.
It said in the paper, Legislative Assembly. Oh, maybe they just wanted to interfere us.
Oh,
talking about. Okay, but really, to call an election, I compare him to Hitler, it's sad, it's disgusting, I agree. But you don't call an election during the crisis.
Well, first of all, this crisis is we're only at the end of the beginning. And the reason I don't wear a mask today, even though I carry one, I usually do, but they've done such an enormously good job that I feel actually safe right now in New Brunswick talking to you, but I carry it everywhere. If I go into the mall or anything like that, or I go into other meetings, I'm going to take a chance with you because we're having a conversation. And
even though I'm coughing.
Well, whatever. And we're going to have a second wave.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure. And that's going to come in September. And if you think that in January one person started this whole thing, like one or two people came from, let's say, China or Europe or wherever, and managed to plant themselves in here, and this has spread that fast, that rapidly. Now, Higgs got on top of it right away.
Yeah, but shouldn't he take all the regulation and throw it out the window? That I could go in the mall,
I'd say,
come in here,
get
and
the
they say you follow the regulation.
My question
is, Higgs called an election. I'm not following no regulation. You're not allowed in New Brunswick.
Okay.
Hey, there's an election.
Is this an interview with me or you today?
I'll get it wound up. You got some Ritalin? You smoke marijuana, Jack? Give me some marijuana.
I should take some Ritalin too. Then we'll be two ADD guys talking. I do.
Practice what you preach. Safety.
But here's my
call an election is not safety.
Wrong, absolutely wrong. They can have a virtual nomination. They can do the TV. They can go around. There's no issue there. In fact, my point would be, who do you want to lead us into this crisis?
To have a leader take advantage of political gain.
What's the political gain?
Win the majority. He's going to win with a majority.
Oh, big deal. That's what politicians are supposed to do.
He's in there being a soldier.
So what?
It would be a complete disaster. Clear cutting, shale gas, mines, non-nerving employees walking around here like soldiers.
Oh my God, who isn't? Who isn't? Are you going to tell me that get Vickers to go on there and say, if I'm elected leader, I'll end clear cutting, I'll end this, I'll end that, I'll end this, and then the people will have a kind of a balance of what they want to get. But I don't think he knows what he wants. He's like probably still looking for the bathroom, the poor fella. I mean, he actually, the Liberal Party,
getting old too,
literally put out an ad or on Facebook saying, send us money because Higgs wants to call an unnecessary election. Now, for an opposition to party to say we don't want an election, the reverse of that is we think they're doing a great job. We actually think that, you would think the party in opposition would be saying, this government's the worst government in the history of governments, and this and that, and blah-de-blah, and let's bring them down, and look for their excuse, like Andrew Scheer is doing federally.
Who wants to be in charge of a government after this mess?
Well, anybody who wants to be in charge of a government wants to be in charge of a government. Higgs wants, and I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't want to run this province by a freaking committee. I want to lead, and I want a leader. That's what you want, with a vision that says this is the way we're going to go, and then when we have an election, you can add up the pros and the cons, and I think that's the kind of guy Higgs is. He's like saying, I don't want to, you know, like this committee business. Let's all do, you know, just
call a by-election. Just call those by-election and
so basically, you've got 3 or 4 by-elections, which are really isn't going to settle anything or much. Then he's going to be either A, he's going to lose his government because, so let's just theoretically argue that the Liberals win all 3 of those seats. Guess what? They are the new government. They'll just defeat the government, and then the Governor General or the Lieutenant Governor will say to the Liberals, can you form a government? They'll be given the chance. They'll sit down, they'll talk to the Greens, and the Greens will say, we'll support you, and Bob's your uncle, we've got a Liberal government again. Just like that. Caused by by-election. That's the way it should be done. Really. Oh my God.
You can practice the by-election. Okay.
I'd rather vote. I'd rather get my vote in.
But what about you old people like us that's scared to catch corona at the voting poll and gathering, and you're going to have elections?
My God, do you think people aren't out there shopping or going to restaurants? Or they'll line up at the voting stations. They can vote by write-in ballot. They can vote by telephone. They can do there's a million ways to vote today.
I think it's bullshit if he calls an election. Okay, speaking of bullshit, what do you think?
You think it's bullshit because you know that you think you know the outcome. And by the way, there's no outcome guaranteed by anybody. You think he's going to win with the majority?
Of course he is.
Well, I don't know. I mean, how's he going to do up in French New Brunswick?
For Vickers?
Not me necessarily, but I'm not talking about me. Let's say he sweeps. First of all, I think the Alliance could very easily split his vote.
Chris Austin's been doing a good job.
Yeah, Chris Austin's the best of the 4.
Yeah.
I've often said that. But the trouble with Chris Austin is he only...
8 years to make him lose his temper, and I fail all the time.
Yeah.
And David Kuhn, I failed also.
Yeah.
And, you know,
well, David,
how come? Am I losing my touch?
Yeah. No, Chris Austin is a wonderful leader, but his message is so narrow. It's really dealing with those who are extraordinarily frustrated over language. Okay? I think a lot of people think
frogs.
And a lot of people think Higgs has got that under control. Now the thing about Higgs is, I don't know that Higgs necessarily. I have no compass or feeling for what his popularity is in French New Brunswick, or if he has a French leader.
They think he's anti-French.
Well, I don't believe that's
because, you know, the
right.
Liberals,
so you're talking about him. He's going to guarantee a majority government.
The Liberals are going up north and they're saying Higgs is anti-French. And when Service New Brunswick shut down, and those poor Acadians from the La Péninsule Acadienne had to go to Miramichi and Batters, not one Liberal MLA complained because they say, well, your grandfather voted Liberal, you have to vote Liberal.
Right.
Those Acadians in the North Shore, you'll pas plus de brain qu'un goddamn de lapin. That means their brain is very, very small.
But I don't know that Gauvin now, for example, I think he's going to go to the Liberals, and I'm like, ugh, jeez.
He don't even live there.
You know, I hope, I will tell you, in my opinion, if I was advising Vickers, you don't want to touch him with a 10-foot pole. You don't want to, because I think
enough of that. What about the Governor General? Time to say bye-bye, au revoir.
I don't really pay much attention to, what do they do?
She wanted to beheaded her employees. They weren't...
the Governor General. Yeah. I was thinking the Lieutenant Governor.
Why would I lower myself to talk about her? My God, I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Let's go.
Boys,
let's go to the high bump.
Yeah, no, there's nothing worse than somebody who gets appointed into a position, didn't even really earn it,
just like
and is verbally abusive to her employees, if that happens to be true. Yeah. But, people don't leave their jobs. These people at that level and in those positions, They're very, very good. I really never ran into too many bad civil servants or public servants. Most of them, especially the ones who survive, know how to keep their mouths
But that
quiet.
title costs $20-30 million a year
Right.
to run. Is it time to say au revoir?
Well, you know, it's like, how do you end it? The older it gets, the more it becomes embedded in our tradition. And, you know, it's not an issue that I think about. The sad part about it is, you know, you've probably got this person. I don't know how she could have been an astronaut. I mean, these people need tremendous mental control. Can you imagine being stuck on Mars with her? Or in a spaceship? You know?
In a spaceship. How long was she in space anyway?
I don't know, but I wouldn't want to be in a spaceship with her.
I gotta find out who the other people were with her.
I just happen to think, like, I can't imagine anybody setting her up or anything like that. There would be nobody with a secret agenda.
She has to resign.
I think she should probably say she made a mistake even in accepting it. A lot of people feel compelled to say yes when something is offered to them, that they think they're getting a better life. But, you know, she obviously is a complete fish out of water if she is verbally abusive to her staff, because that's a position. I actually had a brother who worked for the Governor General. He was in the military. He retired as a chief warrant officer, but he was in charge of security for the Governor General. And, you know, what was her name? She was from Montreal too, the CBC girl. At any rate, she sent him Christmas cards and notes and just very personal and thank you. No, and and my brother always said how kind she was, and she would listen to things, and she listened to everybody. And you know, my position is well, why wouldn't you? Here you are getting what, $200,000 or $300,000 a year for basically everybody doing everything for you. I mean, so this girl comes in and she thinks she's the queen of England.
So let's say, when Frank McKenna was there, he wanted to appoint Native as MLA. Remember that? He was trying to do that.
I don't remember.
So anyway, the Natives. I don't talk about Natives no more.
I mean, we tried to.
But what I'm saying is
appeal to them to come in, but I don't remember anybody appointing us.
No, they wanted that. They wanted to appeal to have a Native just be there. That was in the 90s. But anyway,
yeah, there might have been
now
some.
they want the demands.
I remember sitting in on a meeting with Frank and in the cabinet room with representatives from the. I remember it because they lit up the sweetgrass, and I almost felt like saying, "There's no smoking in it." I had no idea that it was a tradition.
A lot of people had no idea. A lot. Yeah, that's the problem. We have no idea.
Yeah, we don't.
That's why we got to be educated in the school.
No, we're very, you know, but we had T.J. Burke, and T.J. Burke was a very good MLA, and he was a good cabinet minister.
I know. Please change the subject.
All
but
right.
you know what? I think he'll be. He's fighting now.
He's what?
He's fighting. So his concern about access to justice.
Right. Yes. I read some of this stuff.
Watch him be appointed judge.
Oh yeah, he'll be appointed judge.
Oh my
Why
God.
not?
No.
Look, one of the things I drove.
You get to know these people personally after a while.
Well, first of all, I have to tell you, I drove 5 years as a taxi in this city to get David Kuhn elected local MLA. That was the reason I drove taxi.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How the hell can the drunks pay attention or remember what you said the night before?
No, it doesn't work like that. So when you drive for, let's say 3 or 4 years, okay, let's say I pick you up 3 times a week, okay, or let's say you take a cab. We have lots of people who take a cab 10 times a week, like they might go to work and come back and whatever. So for 2 or 3 years, you and I will talk about everything. We'll talk about baseball,
so you
hockey.
Get to know the person.
You get to know the person. And then when the advanced polls opened up,
can I call you?
I would say, "Oh my gosh, Charlie, are you going to vote?" And I'm not voting. I'd say, "Come on, Charles, you You vote. I'll take you to the advance poll. You vote.
If you can't vote, you got to keep your mouth shut for 4 years.
And you know, and then I'd pump David and the Greens and whatever. You didn't just win by. Listen, when I was elected leader of the Green Party.
You're taking credit because David Kuhn won.
No, I wouldn't say David Kuhn had his own constituency for sure.
Me.
But when you take a margin of, say, he won by a margin of, say, let's say 200 or 300 votes, all sorts of people can take credit for that. I could say, yes, I had an influence of having a 200 votes. I can say for sure by having gone out there and ran in the previous election because of the Political Process Financing Act, we were able to give him a paycheck, a very healthy one, which I never got.
No.
So yes, but that was the purpose behind driving taxi, was to get him elected.
When David Kuhn turned around, be elected, Michelle Comroy, Rick, Chris Austin, all those people, it goes to show you, it doesn't matter. People are not looking at the parties anymore. I think that if their local MLAs are doing the job, that's what they want. They never mind the party, the local MLA. They want the local candidate to be their MLA because they will fight for the people in Reading.
Let me say this. I agree with you. And there's good examples of that. Like, for example, when Hatfield kept getting elected over and over and over again, there was a small handful of people like Ray Fournette, Shirley Dysart, Alan Graham, that could get reelected in spite of those waves of people that supported Hatfield. And the reason is they were very good MLAs. They knew how to connect with their local constituents. However, the number one issue for most voters when it comes to voting is, who do you want to be your leader? Who do you want to be your leader? And so I think the next election is going to be, do I want Vickers? Do I want Kuhn to be my leader? Do I want Higgs to be my leader, or Chris Austin? And in some cases, the popularity of that local candidate will be so overpowering that they might say, well, I'd like Higgs to be the leader, but in this case I'm going to vote for Chris Austin or whatever. Or, you know, somebody's personality overrides that.
Hold it. 38 minutes. How many people you think are still listening to this bullshit?
Probably nobody.